Hi, lovelies. Today we will be talking about Jeannie Mai and submission. Before I get into this, I just want to introduce myself. I am Queen Lovely of Melanated Crowns, tapping into your divine femininity. And here we work to uplift Black women by helping them obtain and sustain their mental, emotional, and spiritual wellness. If that is something that interests you, please hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and make sure you enable that notification bell. I may sound a little congested. That's because I'm under the weather, so please bear with me. So I shared a link to my community wall yesterday where The Real Daytime had a pretty lengthy segment that I enjoyed about submission. You know, what does it mean to submit in 2020 and whether or not each of the ladies agreed with it. And I really enjoy Jeannie Mai's take on submission because she basically, took it back to the beginning, how growing up as a girl, a young lady, she watched her mom be very dominant and masculine in the decision making and, just running the household to the point where her father would feel like backed into a corner, like, you know what? I'm not really going to say much. I'm not really going to do much. I'm just going to let her take the lead because I don't feel like going through that power struggle. And Jeannie Mai was saying from her personal experience, okay, watching her mom and her dad. I don't know if she specified if this was the situation with her and her ex-husband, Freddie, but she specifically spoke about watching her mom and her dad. She says when you don't leave room for a man to be a man and you feel the need to wear the hat and wear the pants and make all the decisions, you emasculate him and you kind of back him into a corner where, it could just create some tension. I 100% agree with that. I'm being told that her comments has sparked controversy, and I'm just going to give my honest opinion. This is the thing. I think the word submission has a negative connotation with it, and they touched on that on the panel. To submit to your husband, to submit in your relationship dynamics, your romantic relationship dynamics in your marriage, is to basically allow a man to do what society has always said that he was supposed to do, or shall I say, to allow the masculine energetic source in your relationship to do what it's supposed to do, which is protect and provide. Now, I understand where Adrienne Bailon was coming from, that as a, community of women, we have worked hard to, fight for equal pay and be treated respectfully and be seen equally. Garcelle had some good questions. She was basically like, well, what is submission in 2020? Does that mean that I have his dinner ready when he comes home? I'm running his bath, I'm ironing his clothes. Like, what does that mean? Because she was saying when she thinks about submission, that's what comes to her mind, like that 1950s, type of situation. And Jeannie Mai was saying because she is a businesswoman who owns her own businesses and she's her own boss and like she's just this power player in her career field, when she comes home, she wants to be able to take a back seat and allow her soon-to-be husband, Jeezy, to lead the household. She said she likes the idea of telling her man, this is what I want to do, and allowing him to formulate a plan to execute it and then running it with each other. And I was just having a talk with one of my clients who, talks about femininity and relationship counseling and whatnot. And she was even telling me that, when it comes to men don't really like to be honed on because this is the thing. You have to find the right man to submit to. And that's what it is. I think what happens is, as we're going through life happens in stages. We submit and we relinquish our power to the wrong type of men. And then when they use and discard us, it kind of taints our perception of what relationship power dynamics look like. And then if we don't heal from it and do introspection and grow and learn from that as we go into our next relationship, it becomes this situation where it's just kind of like, we are fighting so hard to be seen and heard. And this is the thing. When you are in a relationship with someone that is equally yoked with you and they love, respect, and honor you, you won't have to fight, okay, tooth and nail to have your voice heard or to be seen or to, have your opinions hold weight and value in your relationship. That's something that's supposed to come naturally. So in my opinion, in my perspective, those who take an issue with submitting to their man, I honestly, intuitively can say that it's probably a situation where in the past or presently, you have chosen to allow a man who is incapable of leading to lead you, and it has, caused a string of negative events, causing the relationship and the household dynamics to go downhill. And that is something where you have to look at yourself, and you need to hold yourself accountable for, attracting this man and allowing him to lead you off of a cliff. That's just the honest to God truth. I didn't see anything wrong with what Jeannie Mai said. Some people feel like because, she's trying to do things different. I seen a comment where somebody said like, she's trying to do things different because, sometimes when you get divorced or you get out of a relationship, you go into your next relationship like, well, this is what I'm going to do different. And once again, what is wrong with that? What is wrong with looking at your previous relationship and your previous behavioral patterns and saying, I did not know how to check my masculinity that I have to exude at work, being a CEO, being a boss, being a supervisor at the door, and rest in my femininity and come home and allow my husband to be the CEO and boss of our family dynamics. Another thing is, we all drive this vehicle called life, and I think sometimes women feel like when they submit to their husbands or their significant others, this means that they relinquish their right to be an individual and an independent. Once again, you have to find somebody who's equally yoked, because somebody who respects you and loves you and honors you, they will appreciate your individuality and your ability to lead. It's just about it being a give and take and being a compromise. Now, something that did worry me, I'm not going to say turn me off, but something that did worry me is that I couldn't help but notice that on that panel, okay, we have Loni Love, Garcelle, Jeannie Mai, and Adrienne Bailon. I couldn't help but notice that the two women who immediately rejected submission were Black women. And here's the thing. People have to do what works in their relationship. Loni Love says she's in a relationship where it's a partnership, it's 50-50, etc., etc. That's beautiful. Garcelle is single, but she said that she's not really with the submission either. I feel like Black women have a tendency unsubconsciously to back themselves into a corner, okay? Because there has been this movement that has exploded with femininity and learning to dwell in your femininity and turning your masculinity down and allowing a man to lead. And I really enjoy that, because I do feel like unless you're being taught that in your home, like, your mom, your aunts, your grandmothers, the women that's raising you are teaching you femininity on a cultural level, Black women are not taught to dwell in their feminine. Black women are, culturally and socially pushed to, be overachievers and to dwell in their masculinity and to be the boss and to be this and be that. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. In addition to that, I do feel like from stories that I've read, from firsthand experiences, and I could relate to Jeannie Mai. It's so funny. My mother literally was a stay-at-home wife and a stay-at-home mother, but yet she never got a chance to dwell in her femininity because my father mentally was just not equipped to make certain decisions. My mother always had to do mental gymnastics about budgeting. Like, he would go to work and be out the house, 12 to 14 hours a day, Monday through Friday. But then on payday, it's like he's handing the check over and she's just keeping everything in her head. And unfortunately, that resulted in her, breaking down physically. She has fibromyalgia, she has neuropathy, she has diabetes. She suffered from depression because she just felt like it was a one-sided relationship. Like, yes, this man gets up and goes to work and financially contributes, but I still have to be the head and make all these decisions, and that could wear somebody down. So I just want to, in closing, suggest to my Black lovelies, my beautiful Black women, my queens, because this is about the wellness of, Black women, to just look at yourself. What is it about submission that you don't like? What is it about submission that turns you off? Have you been in previous situations where you have submitted to a man and he let you down? And if so, is that what puts a bad taste in your mouth about submission? I did a video a long time ago about, Black women having to take accountability. I'm not saying every negative dating experience or interpersonal experience we have with relationships is solely our fault. But the reality is we are who we attract and we allow to stick. And yes, we may grow and evolve and, see things for what it is, but you also have to acknowledge the previous stage that you were in when you was dwelling on that same frequency of vibration that attracted these negative and not so good experiences. So I would love to hear your opinions about submission. I'm with Jeannie Mai. I am a boss of my own brand as well. I'm very independent and make my own money and take care of myself. But, I turn 25 soon, and I am getting to that space where I would like to share the load with a masculine, energetic force. And I have no problem submitting to a man or yielding to a man in which, intuitively spirit tells me this is a man that could lead you. And I don't know if I'm going to say this quote right. You guys could correct me below, but I remember a long time ago, this woman told me the man is the head and the woman is the neck. Wherever the woman's neck turns, that's where the head will go. But as long as you allow a man to feel like he is ultimately leading, that's how you balance. So basically, to just say that I don't think submission, submission, it varies per relationship, but I feel like what Jeannie Mai was saying, what I agree with is, if I am giving you suggestive approaches on how to tackle an issue or approach something, and then you formulate a plan and say it just, doesn't go the way that it goes, naturally your partner will come back to you. That masculine force will come back to you and pick your brain again. So it's like you're allowing him to lead, but people make mistakes. Men are not always going to get it right, but once again, it's just about who you choose. So I hope you all enjoyed this video, and have a good night. Hi.